In case you missed anything about freeze drying, this is your monthly recap for the month of May in 2024, where we cover all the videos that were posted on the Freeze Dry Business channel, as well as people that I connected with in the freeze drying space and news and updates across the freeze drying industry so that you're more informed about future content that's coming up on this channel, as well as just more and more information given to you about what's happening and growing in freeze drying. Before we get to the video recap, hit the subscribe bell if you're interested in freeze drying or interested in starting a freeze drying business. More subscribers and likes on this video will really help more people get connected in the freeze drying space. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, or if you're unfamiliar with me, my name is David. I live in Boise, Idaho. I run a freeze drying business called Freeze Dry Depot. You can look it up in the channel About Us section. But I also run this channel. One of the luxury items that we have in Boise is that the Boise River runs from one of our reservoirs all the way down through the valley. And right here is a sub-channel of the Boise River that contains a man-made whitewater park. Right behind me, you'll see that there's different surfers surfing waves. This is all created back a couple years ago by the Boise City Parks and Rec and the Catherine Albertson Foundation. If you're not familiar with the Albertson grocery store chain, Joe Albertson and Catherine Albertson both were very integral in a lot of the commerce that took place in the Boise area and booming, and that's why we have Albertson today. And their foundation does a lot of great nonprofit things like building parks in this area. And one of the things that they invested in was they wanted to make sure that there was a lot of accessibility for recreation across the waterway of the Boise River. And so right behind me, there's actually, they can actually create two different types of waves through some systems where they release different, I'm not a total expert, but basically they're able to manipulate the water that's flowing through this channel so that they can create really unique waves. And actually, it's one of the best man-made whitewater parks running off of a river channel across the whole country. So a lot of people come here to do this, and I felt like it'd be appropriate to show you a little bit about where I live before we get to the video recap. Now, if you live close or you get a chance to visit Boise, Idaho, this is definitely a must-see spot. Not only do you get to see surfers, but you also get to experience the beauty of the Boise River and the Boise area. Video number 1 posted on this channel in the month of May was another episode of the Frozen Assets podcast series. Now, this podcast series focused on entrepreneurs. It focused on people in the industry, as well as manufacturers, different accessories, everything that kind of pertains to freeze drying. I'm trying to get you connected to see what's happening in this space. And one thing that is common across all of us who are freeze drying is that failures and repairs on our freeze dryers is going to happen. And sometimes we just need to know the experts, who's taken apart these machines, what are some quick fixes before I have to send it into the manufacturer. And that person is Donald, who runs a YouTube channel just like myself. It's called Donald's Freeze Drying Group, and he also has a website called fixmyfdforfreezedryer.com. Now, he focuses on fixing different freeze dryers. He's taken apart Harvest Right, Stay Fresh, Blue Alpine, and he just kind of has taken his type of military background with different machinery and taken apart these machines to better understand what's going on, as well as he's got a couple of different fixes that I think are really going to help with different vacuum leak issues on the Harvest Right, and also different pipes and different accessories that can really help you get back on the road. So that was video number 1. I really enjoyed my conversation with Donald. He's got a lot of great information, and I'm not a techie person, so I like knowing more about how we can fix the freeze dryers, because as a business, you're going to need to save money by doing some of the fixes yourself. So that was video number 1. Video number 2 that I posted was the walk-in freezer that Harvest Right Freeze Dryers now has available through harvestrightcommercial.com. Now, I actually visited the headquarters of Harvest Right back in January of 2024, earlier this year. And it was a great time for me to experience what's going on with this largest manufacturer of freeze dryers that we all know today. And one of the things that really was interesting was that they were producing a walk-in freezer that you could purchase along with your commercial type of investment in your freeze drying business. Now, it's not pertaining to everybody who has a freeze drying business, right? You got to have the actual square footage and the footprint in your facility to have a walk-in freezer like this, but a walk-in freezer where you can prep all of your fruit, meals, anything that needs to be pre-frozen Now you can have a walk-in freezer to hold all that capacity. And the reason you freeze things before you freeze dry it is because you can speed up the freeze drying cycle time. The freeze dryers do come prepared with a freezing component, but you know, you're going to be spending a lot of time preparing fruit, cutting fruit, especially when things are in season. You're going to try to capitalize on the price point for when things are on sale and when things are right so that you can make better margins. And when you're prepping all that fruit, prepping all those vegetables, meals, whatever your recipe is, having it already pre-frozen can trim down that cycle time that's in the freeze dryer, drying it by probably a good 10–20% of that total cycle time. So if you tend to have a cycle time for your freeze-dried strawberries of, let's say, 40 hours, you could trim off maybe 4 to 8 hours of time in that freeze dryer, which just gets you more cycles, which means more production out of your freeze drying business, making you more money. So if you haven't checked out that video, check out the video link below in the video description. I've got a link to the walk-in freezer where I actually show you what the freezer looks like, as well as just talk about what the benefits are to the walk-in freezer. Before we get into the next couple videos that were posted in May, give this video a thumbs up if you like the monthly recaps. I've been doing it ever since February this year, and I'm trying to just give you more and more information about maybe things that you missed. And if these recaps are really helpful, the thumbs up really gives me an indicator as to whether I should continue doing them. Also, if you have any comments about maybe things that you want included in the recap, go ahead and comment in this video so that I can see that and get direct feedback implemented into my videos. Thanks a lot. The third video that I posted in May was how to freeze dry tropical fruits, because I did an earlier video on the beginner's blueprint to how to freeze dry fruit. I did strawberries, blueberries, and apples and showed you how to prep all of that. And I used all different types of cutting tools to prepare these fruits. So if you haven't checked out that video, you can also check it out in the video description. I'll put it also in the card above here so that you can reference that video later on. Now, I had a lot of fun with the tropical fruit because I hadn't done a whole lot of these fruits before. The only fruit that I had done was pineapple. And the fruits that I chose to do in this video, in case you missed it, is I did dragon fruit, which I've never done before. That was actually really tasty. I did mangoes, as well as kiwis, and I did papaya. So I cut all those. I used a special tool for the mangoes that I've been wanting to use, and I purchased off of Amazon. So if you want to check out that video, you'll learn how to, one, prepare these different types of fruits, and I also share with you how to freeze dry it and the freeze dryer settings, as well as just a little bit more commentary about what the freeze drying space has to do with fruit and what the benefits are to freeze drying fruit for all of us, no matter whether you're in business or you're just trying to use it for food preservation. So check that video out. And if you're watching this recap, just so you know, I'm gonna be doing a taste test as well as some applications for different recipes using that freeze-dried tropical fruit, because I know a lot of you who watched that video were like, well, how did it turn out? Well, I've got all that video captured, and I'm gonna share with you how it turned out, and also what did it taste like, and how we could maybe use it on different types of items that we freeze dry today for your freeze drying business. So if you missed that video, check it out in the video description. I've got a link there to that. And the fourth and final video that I posted in the month of May was a little bit more of a message for all of you about what this channel is all about. There's been a lot of different opinions, and I personally think just very subjective, kind of hard reviews about specifically Harvest Right freeze dryers. Now, I'm not paid by Harvest Right. They don't give me money to talk about them. I am an affiliate of them, which, if you're not familiar with affiliate marketing, basically you're giving someone who has a specific link to some product that they're talking about or they really like, and they trust and have credibility with that brand, that they really feel good about telling you to go ahead and purchase that. And that's what I do with Harvest Right, Stay Fresh, Blue Alpine, a lot of the different Amazon links. I promote these different things because it's helped me in my business, and I do believe that it's going to help you as well. And so this video was about a lot of the comments that I've just seen on Facebook groups, and maybe I need to get off of social media, but everyone's just bashing different freeze dryers because they just have personal opinions of others. Maybe they actually have had some bad just machine issues with Harvest Right, but to be honest, all these freeze dryers are going to fail at some point, and a lot of the new ones are completely new. They've only been around for a year and a half, really, that's been out in the market, versus Harvest Right's been out for over a decade. So there's a lot more longevity about what failures might happen with Harvest Right which is why you're seeing a lot of that type of commentary about people's reviews about their freeze dryers today. But we're gonna see that 5, 6 years from now about all the brands. But really what you need to take a look at is what's gonna help you build your business the quickest and the most efficient. And right now for Harvest Right, they have the XL freeze dryer that can do up to 40 pounds of product. They also have the HRC 100, which can do up to 100 pounds of product. So they have the machines right now in the market for the lowest price to get you to accelerate your business. That's just the facts. Now, if you want to go with the commercial grade freeze dryer, that's a whole different topic, but I'm just talking about kind of home freeze dryers to get you started, and then also the HRC 100. There's just nobody that can beat that. And plus, Harvest Right was the one who invented kind of the home freeze dryer. They are the ones who put it all together compactly so that all of us can buy it for under 4,000 bucks. I mean, that's crazy. So we got to give them some credit. If you want to know more about my opinion, check out that video. It's in the video description below. Now, the next section of this recap is the people that I connected with in the freeze drying space, and it's personally one of my favorite parts about this recap because I get to kind of take a look back at people I connected with either by email or I talked to over a phone call or I interviewed for the podcast series. So this is a great time for you to know about future content that I'm going to be coming out with based on the people that I talked to. Now, number one is I talked to the owners of Blue Alpine. I talked to Corey Merritt. Now, he's the co-founder along with his brother Tim, and he was a great guy to interview because he's very passionate about freeze drying. They saw an opportunity to start their own business several years ago, and then as of last year, they really rolled out their Blue Alpine kind of flagship product. Now, he says that they've got several different versions that they have in the pipeline in the future. So they had their first version kind of roll out where they were kind of taking a look to see, okay, what are the kind of new people that are entering all this? They have a warranty. They kind of wanted to first launch with the market about this kind of, rev number one, or this first version. The second version is actually what you're purchasing right now in their larger freeze dryer that they're offering, which is kind of in between the large and the XL of the Harvest Right freeze dryer if you want to kind of have a good comparison of that. Now, this interview was all captured for my Frozen Assets podcast series where I'm featuring different entrepreneurs and manufacturers in the freeze drying space. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you're not already, make sure you hit the bell notification there so you get notifications on your phone about when those videos get released. I'm really excited about sharing with you that whole content and interview series with Corey at Blue Alpine. A lot of great stuff coming out of there. Now, the second person that I talked to in the freeze drying space was a new person that I hadn't been aware of before, and that is a guy by the name of Eugene Ligman. And he has a company called Suntorr, S-U-N-T-O-R-R. And this company is his own company, and he focuses on consulting, specifically questions and information that you might have about commercial freeze drying. Now, I had a great conversation with Eugene. I'm going to release that through my Frozen Assets podcast series, but I talked to Eugene specifically because he actually is an expert in vacuums. He has experience working with a lot of different vacuum pump manufacturers, working within vacuums. So he had to put it in layman's terms for me, but a lot of his experience is knowing exactly how a freeze dryer works. And he also focuses on the commercial grade freeze dryer system. So he's going to be able to tell you, when is it the right time for you to look at upping your game and going beyond just our kind of shelf home freeze dryers for your business and actually invest in these larger commercial grade freeze dryers. Because once I release that interview, you're going to really understand why there's a huge benefit in increasing your capital and investing in one of these commercial grade freeze dryers. It opened my eyes and kind of gave me a broader view about, the price point, the footprint, all the things that are very intimidating about investing in a large freeze dryer like that compared to what we're used to at $5,000 or $10,000 for these home freeze dryers. It really made a lot more sense to me. So make sure you tune into this channel because that interview is going to be released through the video as well as Apple and Spotify podcasts. I talked to a number of other people in the month of May in the freeze drying space, and I'm gonna wait until I actually have those interviews taking place and those phone calls before I release it on this channel. in the monthly recap. That concludes our May 2024 recap. Hey, if you want to connect with me further, go to freezedrybusiness.com down in the video description. I'd love for you to join my email newsletter community because I'm going to be releasing more and more exclusive content through my email systems, and that way you can connect with me directly. Also, if you want to ask me questions or if you want to book a consulting session with me so I can review your business strategy, talk to you about what type of challenges you're facing, feel free to email me. My email is in the About section of this channel. You can email me through freezedrybusiness.com, or you can email me through my business, freezedrydepot.com. Now, hey, if you like freeze drying and if you want to learn more about freeze drying those tropical fruits or freeze drying in general, check out the next couple thumbnails. I'll see you there.